Good afternoon. I'm Danielle Shenk in the 1011 Now Alert Center with your weekly consumer safety spotlight. Joining me once again is Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau. How's it going today, Josh?
It's going well, Danielle. The weather is beautiful out there, so hard to have a bad day with weather like this.
Yeah, absolutely. When I got to work, I was like, oh no, it's cloudy, but now I see that the sun's out, so it'll definitely be a great evening.
It looks like it, and let's hope it sticks around for a little bit. Nebraska is pretty good at showing the door shortly after the weather gets nice, so we'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
Absolutely. Well, today we are talking about how to detect AI in photos and videos. Josh suggested this topic after an AI generated video went viral over the weekend. So, before we kind of show it to our viewers, what can we expect from this video?
Yeah, so over the weekend, there was an Irish filmmaker who used a new AI video tool called Seed Dance, and it's made by the company behind TikTok. And why this became widely spread was this person said they used a two-sentence prompt, and it generated a very, very realistic video that depicted Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, very well-known actors, fighting each other on a roof, and it went viral almost instantly because of how realistic it was. Of course,
Hmm.
there was some pretty considerable blowback from Hollywood, from Disney, from a lot of folks who might be involved if this technology becomes even more widespread because of the use of name, image, likeness, the ability for effectively a number of people's jobs to be compressed into two sentences and spit out is pretty concerning. There are also like some ethical considerations as
Hmm.
well, but we seem to have conversations like this pretty regularly now. I can remember at least three of these types of videos that have emerged over the past 2 years, and they're only going to continue to happen. So I think having a conversation about what it is that's real and what it is that is synthetic or produced by artificial intelligence is something that should be top of mind for consumers.
Hmm. And now I got to say, when I was running through this video here earlier, my boyfriend was watching and saw the video and he's like, you can't run that. And I was like, this is an AI video. And he was like, oh, so it is very realistic. I got to say,
Yeah.
I'll pop
Yeah.
it up here so we can kind of take a look. Yeah, here's the Twitter page and I'll show it full here. But I mean, the sunset and all of this, the music on top of it. So within this video, kind of looking at it, I'm sure you've watched this a couple of times now, but after watching it, what were some of the biggest signs that it was AI generated, besides the little watermark there in the right hand corner, if you can see it, that says AI generated?
Well, I'm actually really glad that you pointed that out specifically because there's not even a clear and agreed upon policy regarding AI watermarks, even just to identify things. Sometimes people will see photos on Instagram, right? That's got like a little notification in the corner that indicates, this has been AI has been used to create this graphic. And while that's all fine and well, a lot of folks are desperately looking for ways that they can bypass that. Because who knows, is Instagram suppressing that content? Are they promoting that content? We don't really know, but for the most part people are not exactly historically chomping at the bit to indicate that they used something else to produce this piece of work, right? I think with this video in particular, one of the giveaways for me was, there's someone lying on the ground, kind of like this. Stereotypically, one would presume they passed away on top of this building. It looked a little like if this were a real video, they'd probably have him laying a different kind of way. The faces are super blurry, which is something that is common in both photos and videos. Unfortunately, we are now in an environment where you really need to think critically and look with incredible inspection on the materials that you are presented with. One thing that I think should be underlined after seeing videos and works like this is that seeing is no longer believing. We used to trust our eyes all the time, and now AI has absolutely changed that game because it creates things out of thin air. And anybody can now put realistic fake images and videos together with very, very little information. And it unfortunately has the risk of putting a real person's face and voice into any scenario imaginable. You can see why, yes, there are charming aspects of that, but there's a lot of concern around whether any of it seems unlikely that Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise had any knowledge or provided any permission for their likeness to be used in this way. And you follow that can down the road, and you see a lot of avenues that people can and currently are exploiting to deceive people. And that's really something that should concern everybody.
Hmm. And so we'll kind of get into how obviously AI plays a role in scams and fraud. But when looking at that video, I mean, it's hard. You pointed out blurriness, but with it being an action video, you kind of get that. And then listening to it as well, they have music over the in the background too. So a lot of ways to kind of fool you.
Yeah, and I would guess that scammers, in addition to people who are, maybe trying to be an armchair, videographer or cinematographer, are interested in masking those deficiencies, right? One thing that we see very regularly are hands and teeth are nearly always dead giveaways with AI. Again, what's true today might not be true tomorrow, but AI, for as long as it has been around, has struggled with hands and teeth. There have been extra fingers in any number of photos. There's uneven teeth. There's weirdly proportioned ears. There's not a lot of symmetry, right? Symmetry is something that we have talked about folks needing to look for more than 3 years now. But that is still true because, unfortunately, for AI companies, it's just something that's often overlooked and maybe kind of one of the last frontiers of ensuring that everything feels comprehensive and as real life as possible. There's also kind of an airbrushed glow that we see from time to time on images, and certainly in this video. There's almost like a texture that's applied to people. There are random blurry spots, which we mentioned, which, of course, if you're shooting an action sequence, is not going to set off any alarms for folks. You also want to make sure you're watching the eyes. In a lot of the videos that I have seen, a lot of the scam tracker reports that we have monitored, the person never blinks.
Mm.
There are absolutely examples of people blinking, but the body language feels stiff. It doesn't feel natural. It's very strange to watch somebody speak for minutes on end and never blink. So there are small human details, like not blinking, that we normally take for granted, but are things that we should be looking for. And it's not to say that every time you get presented with something, you need to have a notepad out and you're itemizing every single time you see something that is amiss. But if your gut is telling you one thing, it's best practice to at least rewatch that and ensure that this is something that is real to begin with before you begin deciding, what your response is going to be to it.
Hmm. And I mean, blinking, yeah, that's a good point to make on that. And if someone is giving a speech, there's no way that it's going to be perfect. There's going to be some stumbles or some ums and uhs, because we're people. That happens when you're on air and talking live, just like I am right now.
And me as well. I would say that I would love to have smoothed out all of those transition words and some of those opportunities for me to think through the conversation. But that's life, and so that is something though to be on the lookout for. I
Hmm.
would guess that is something that people who are producing AI are looking to lean into the human aspect as much as possible because they know that that's what's real. But as of now, there are some things that we can look for that thankfully provide a little bit of distance and a little bit of understanding that what it is that we're being presented with is not what we would see just out and about in everyday life.
Hmm. And so videos obviously can be a little bit more complex than photos. So images might be a little bit easier to manipulate. What are some tips for spotting some AI generated photos?
Yeah, I would say that photos have been around for a lot longer. Certainly, we've monitored a lot more on the photo side than on the video side. But if you recall, 12-ish months ago, we had a rash of Elon Musk deep fake videos. Deep fake videos are things that have been around for a long time. So again, we talked earlier about placing somebody in a place to deceive somebody else, right? Usually, celebrities are very effective in that way because Taylor Swift has an enormous platform, a global platform. Elon Musk has a global platform. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. One probably would not. We probably wouldn't be talking about this if Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise had been replaced by anybody else, right? Or anybody with lesser of a platform. So celebrities are very useful in terms of selling a product, pitching an investment opportunity, pitching a scam. On the photo side, again, looking for symmetry. That's going to be the most useful thing that you can find. Ensure that you're not overlooking what might seem like trivial details. For instance, is that arm cut off at the hinge? Does somebody have 3 elbows? Does somebody have, uh, you know, uh, 4 eyes? Things like that. Usually those are, a little bit clearer to pick out. But ask yourself, why would I be presented with this? And is this something that surprises me? Maybe that's a very useful, like, first prompt. Am I
Hmm.
surprised by what it is that I'm being presented with? Because if so, and I'm going to make an emotional reaction to it, I should first know that this is real to begin with. I'd love for us to be in an environment where that uh, appendage is added to every single image or piece of video content. Everything is flagged as this was created using Gemini or ChatGPT or
Hmm.
ByteDance. But unfortunately, we're in a situation where I see plenty of AI related materials that do not have that warning sign, and that is of concern for all of us, because then they're being presented as though it is authentic when it isn't. So
Yeah.
again, that probably doesn't totally answer your question, but I do think that there's a lot of concern around just, can you tell me if this is real? I
Yeah.
feel like we have this conversation so regularly, Danielle, that it's amazing that is like central to just about all of the scams that we monitor.
Yeah. And we're in such a weird time period right now of where AI is starting to really grow in popularity, but the laws regarding it have not really been established yet. So it's kind of a lawless wasteland when it comes to AI right now. But the BBB put together a few tips here that I've been showing to the viewers. What is something that consumers can do to verify whether a photo or video is authentic? What are some things that they can kind of double check?
So the first thing I'd recommend is to zoom in on the photo. How many times are we just scrolling through our phone and we spend about 2 seconds on something, accept it as fact, move on to the next thing? It's really important that you at least slow down and consider the aspects of the photo. Not every photo needs to be scrutinized, but if it is going to fundamentally shift your outlook on politics or sports or life in general, you should at bare minimum spend a little bit of time ensuring that it's real, right? Versus looking for something that maybe can confirm some preconceived notions. Looking for high resolution versions of suspicious images is very useful. If you do zoom in on a photo with AI, as someone who wears glasses, I noticed that there are a lot of melting glasses on people's faces with AI photos. So that's a very useful giveaway. Most glasses are of a certain quality where they're not just going to melt there right on your face. We see floating objects. We see fingers that don't quite add up. Slow down. Ensure that you're looking for that symmetry. You're ensuring that that person doesn't have like an airbrushed glow, that their hands and teeth are in one shape or in one piece. That is something that is extremely useful. Also, a lot of this can double back to ensuring that you are considering what your source is. We talk about this very regularly with like fake employment scams. It's really important that if you see a post from 1011 News, it's going to be a lot more reputable than something that is from a news station maybe you've never heard of before, but they're putting out work that presents as a news organization. So really, really considering your source, slowing down, double checking the photo, ensuring that your guard isn't tripped by some of those kind of more reasonable giveaways, like the eyes that don't match up, or they don't follow the action in the photo. And then when it comes to video, it's really important that you listen carefully to the audio. Usually the sentences are quite choppy. There's some weird inflection. There's background sounds that don't necessarily match where that person supposedly is. So synthetic audio usually has some pretty easy giveaways if you know what to listen for. And then just kind of roundly, I think it's really important to verify before you share something.
Hmm.
Some people are very comfortable sharing AI related materials, and really there's nothing in and of itself wrong with that. But if you are presenting it as though it is real, it's important that you know it's real first, right? So
Hmm.
one thing that I would actually recommend is to do a reverse image search. Um, Sometimes that works with AI, sometimes it doesn't. But a reverse image search is just uploading the URL of the photo, and the image generator will tell you where that image also appears online. So if you see that a photo has been put in, 5 different places and 5 different contexts, that's usually a good explanation that that's either royalty free photos, or that that's something that's just being repurposed with potentially ulterior motives.
Hmm. And I think there is a site now out there somewhere. I don't know what it's called, but if you put in a photo or a video, it can generate the probability of it being AI generated as well. I don't know what this
Absolutely. I
site
mean,
is.
things like that are going to be incredibly important, right? Because we are going to see things that look like they are airbrushed, things that are completely enhanced. You know, all manner of things are going to be flooding our timelines if they aren't currently. In fact, we know that many of them currently are on our timeline. So um, I know it takes more time to verify things these days, but it's really important that you do that.
Mhm.
And that's probably one of the biggest pieces of advice we have for 2026 is do everything you can to verify the information you're getting, because even if it sounds small stakes, if it's something that is truly designed to fundamentally alter your outlook on a very important matter, it's really important that you, at bare minimum, are getting information from a source that you can trust, and not just assuming that because you saw something on social media, or something that popped up on a website, that it has received a stamp of approval from anybody.
Mhm. And now I know this is an obvious question, but obviously we have to tie this all back together. How does this AI generated photos, videos connect back to scams and fraud?
Yeah, so I would say for a long time, looking for grammatical mistakes was kind of the like central guiding principle behind consumer protection. Now, I would say that the number one piece of advice is still probably trusting your gut and ensuring that you are letting that guide you, because scammers are really good at kind of creating a facade for any number of efforts. But if you know in your heart that something is off or something is suspicious, that is very, very useful and a very important compass to follow. But I would say that AI has really scaled a lot of the scams that we have monitored lately. I just saw one from 2 weeks ago that involved a fake employment opportunity that somebody in Nebraska had for more than 30 days. So this person truly worked for more than a month under the pretense that they were working for a fake company. Everything about it, the onboarding, the recruitment email, the company itself was propped up likely by an AI chatbot, and it was able to not trip this person's guard in any way, shape, or form. So it has the ability to create fake photos and create fake videos and have, grade A celebrities fight on top of rooftops. And it also has the ability to create a fake invoice from a vendor. It has the ability to create a fake email from your bank. It has the ability to do all manner of harms. And I think it's really important that folks know that. I think most people do intuitively understand that, but all it takes is one instance of you kind of letting your guard down and just assuming that something wouldn't be there if it wasn't real, for you to get in a lot of trouble. And it's unfortunate that that's kind of the situation we're in. Just like this video story is, the company is now trying to put in these guardrails. The damage is really done, right? And we so
Hmm.
regularly roll out technology without considering what guardrails need to be in place first and foremost. And I hope we can course correct on this situation and many situations like it. But for now, the scam related activity that we monitor looks a lot more sophisticated today than it did even 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And a reminder for people that the BBB scam tracker is available to report or even look up scams.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Danielle. bbb.org/scam tracker is the URL. It takes 2.5 minutes to submit a report. We'll walk you through a series of steps. You can be kept completely anonymous, which is very useful and very effective for a lot of folks who do not want to be tied to that report for the rest of time. What's really important about this tool is it makes the information public. We do a spot check, we evaluate reports. So before they appear online. So if you submit a report, don't go to Scam Tracker and see if it's there, because typically there is a waiting period in which we are going to evaluate the report that comes in, just to do our due diligence and ensure that it is in fact a scam and not just a complaint against a company or that it's fake to begin with. But it's really important that that information becomes public, because for many of us, when we are at the point at which it's time to proceed with the scam or walk away from the scam, many of us are going to do a quick search online and see if someone else has experienced something like this. If we don't see that anyone has experienced anything like this before, we are, as a society, willing to give that the benefit of the doubt very regularly. If we see that it has been explicitly used in a report previously, 9 times out of 10, we're going to walk away from that experience before we provide personal or payment information. So this is a protective shield that you are providing for somebody else. And I hope folks will consider that the next time they come across a scam, because 2.5 minutes is not a lot of time to protect somebody from needing to go through a horrific experience.
All right, Josh, thanks so much for joining us today to talk about AI generated content.
Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you as well. Stay tuned to our 1011 Now website. Follow us on all our social platforms and make sure to download our Roku app for the latest news of the day. From our newsroom to wherever you are, we'll see you on the next stream.
1011 News is everywhere. Download our smart TV apps and follow us on social media at 1011 News.